I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be, she dumped me for her rich boss. We're going to talk about money and success and the myth that's out there that rich guys pretty much get all of the girls. Now, obviously, if you have money and you're successful at becoming a high-earner, high-achieving type of male, when we look at the fact that masculine energy is about purpose, drive, mission, succeeding, accomplishing, breaking through barriers, achieving goals, that embodies what a man is all about. And then you look at feminine energy is all about opening up to receive love. Now, guys that are very successful usually tend to have a lot different kind of a swagger to them, a different body language than a guy who is living paycheck to paycheck. And the nice thing about having money is that money doesn't make you happy, but it gives you a lot of choices. And so I've got an email here from a guy who basically got dumped. He sounds like just an average, regular guy, and he got his girlfriend of 8 months, who apparently he's known her, he's been friends with her for several years, dumped him for her rich boss. But the interesting thing is this guy is a control freak as well, and this girl constantly complains about the fact the guy's a control freak, he's a weak, needy bitch, basically. But he's like bought her a house, and he's paying all of her bills. And so I want to go through some things here in his email, because things don't always, because the average person is go, oh, it's because the guy's rich. Well, there's a little bit more to that. And any guy, whether he's rich or he's broke, who acts like a control freak, who tends to dictate to women what to do or tell them what to do, initially a woman will, not all women, but some women will take his controllingness as the place, or being able to having confidence. But the thing is, she gets into a relationship with a guy, what it really boils down to, the reason the dude is such a control freak is because he feels out of control. Because deep down, he doesn't feel, other than having his money, that a woman would really like him for who he really is. And therefore, the control freak is, in essence, coming from a place of fear. And like I said, has said in some videos I've done in the past, what you fear, you attract. And in this particular case, when you see a woman get into a relationship with a guy who's buying her a house, buying her cars, buying her all kinds of expensive jewelry, taking her on expensive trips, any woman would love that. I mean, what woman wouldn't like to be whisked off someplace in a Learjet to some exclusive Caribbean cabana house in the islands somewhere and have this great, and be pampered for several days. So it's like, we're going to bring up some interesting things here in his email. And he says, hey, Coach Wayne, does having lots of money trump all of your dating rules? No, I mean, at the end of the day, when you exhibit male or alpha male strength characteristics, now alpha male is not about being a jackass or a control freak. It's, in essence, an alpha male is embodying everything that a man is supposed to be, which, if you're totally in your masculine, you're pursuing your purpose in life, and you feel successful at it, and even if you haven't made $1 million yet on your way to achieving your dream or making your life the way it is, you can ask any woman, they'll tell you they love guys that have ambition, guys that have goals, guys that are going places in life. Because even if they're not successful today, a man who is pursuing his dreams without any fear and who believes or has positive expectation that his goals are eventually going to be realized, he has a different energy about himself than the typical guy that's like, hey, what do you do for a living? Oh, working a shitty job. Or he says, hey, how was your day? Oh, same shit, different day. A guy that has that kind of attitude, deep down doesn't have the confidence to go after the things he wants. He doesn't have certainty. And so guys that obviously have achieved a level of financial success in their life have a lot more certainty, at least in the financial arena, and their ability to accomplish their goals and to acquire the material things that they want in their life. So he says, I'm a cool dude, I get girls easy enough, but this girl I've been friends with for many years and dated for about 8 months recently suddenly dumped me for her boss. Keep in mind, she has bitched about the unwanted advances of her boss for years. Very insecure, stalks her on Facebook, and I guess he's always blowing up her phone apparently. Well, that's obviously a very needy, insecure guy. And there are women out there that I met a woman. This is going back probably about 12 years ago. I was on a cruise in Europe, and it was like a 5-star thing. We were going down the Danube River, and it was like a tour of 4 different countries. We went to like Slovakia, Slovenia, Germany, Hungary. It was just a beautiful trip. And so I'm always asking people. I love talking to couples, especially women, to kind of get into their inner psychology. And this girl was very beautiful. She was a beauty queen when she was younger. And I think she was in like her early 30s, and they had a couple of kids. And she was married to this guy who was in his 50s. And he was a very successful, very wealthy, well-known eye doctor in Orlando. And so I sat down and talked to her. And I was like, hey, where'd you guys meet? She starts telling me the story. And the thing that was just shocking to me, I guess I shouldn't have been shocked, but I was just like, it was just kind of puzzling. Because she said that when she married her husband, she said it took like 2 years before she actually fell in love with this guy. And so obviously he had money, he was very successful, and he just pretty much paid for everything, and she kind of got swept up in it. She didn't marry for love, she just married interest. Obviously this guy it was like love at first sight for him, and he pretty much didn't care. He had no clue that he was married to a woman that wasn't with him because she was in love with him. She was just kind of going along with it, and it was later, after she was with him for several years, that she finally fell in love. And I was just thinking, man, that fucking poor bastard, he really had no idea that he was marrying a woman that wasn't in love. She was just kind of going along with it. Now, there are women that are out there in society that are very shallow and that will go out with a guy and marry a guy just because he's rich and he's successful, just because that's what she's looking for. And being in love is not necessarily something that's as important to her as comfort. And I'm not saying all women are like this, but there's a certain percentage of women out there that are like this. And so if you're one of those guys that has a lot of money, the idea is not to start throwing expensive things at the girl, because you want to make sure that if you're dating a woman that she's with you for you, not because of your things or your expensive house or your cars, or because maybe she can marry you and have a few kids and then divorce you and you have to pay her alimony for the rest of your life. So he says, and now they're dating. Here, let me back up a little bit. He says, keep in mind, she's bitched about this guy and all of his unwanted advances for years. And he says, indeed, I met him before, and he gave off this creep vibe like no other dude I've known. And now that they are dating, his stalking behavior is worse. Obviously, he's even more insecure and fearful that he's going to lose this girl. And eventually, he will drive her away. He says now he checks her phone. He needs to know her location at all times. That's obviously a dude that's paranoid about losing her to another guy, because he really deep down doesn't understand how attraction works, and he thinks that all of these external things are why she's really with him, and probably a part of the reason is why she's with him, because he's just, listen to the stuff he's doing for this girl. He says he even stalks me because he knows who I am and that I'm her ex. She still bitches about him, but he buys her a t-shirt. He buys her a shitload of stuff, takes her on expensive vacations, and he even bought her a house. Pretty generous dude. She's got to be loving that. He says she texts me daily, and I still talk to her occasionally. And so that tells me that you've acquiesced with going along with a friendship. And obviously you were friends with this girl for a lot of years before you actually started dating her. He says, but like I said, all she does is bitch about what a controlling, insecure pussy her boss and new boyfriend is. And yeah, you in essence have become her male girlfriend. Because instead of standing up for yourself and saying, hey, if you want to date your boss, great. But I'm not interested in only being your male girlfriend. And see, the problem is that she's getting her emotional connection with you because you in essence have become a girlfriend of hers instead of a man. But what you should have said is like, hey, if you want to date this other dude, that's cool, but I'm not interested in only being friends with you. So if you want to still hang out and hook up and have fun together, that's great. But if you're telling me that we can only be friends from this point forward, give me a call if you change your mind. And then you walk away from it. And when you hear from her, you just assume it because she wants to see you. And just, hey, great to hear from you. I'd love to see you when you're free to get together. Invite her over to your place. Tell her to bring a bottle of wine over. Make dinner together, whatever. Hang out, have fun, and hook up. And if she's not down with it, or you go and you make a move on her and she rebuffs your advances, just say, I told you, I'm not interested in being your male girlfriend. I'm just not going to go there. And so if you're telling me that we can only have something platonic, then I'm going to have to ask you to leave. And you got to stand up for yourself. He says, yet she won't dump him, and they have nothing in common, whereas her and I have tons in common. In fact, she's never said one single positive word about him or her relationship with him, yet she's still with him. And obviously, she sounds like she's using this guy. And, I mean, who wouldn't like to have a free house or a free car or have all the bills paid? I mean, he's probably just throwing all this stuff at her because he's trying to bribe her for sex, bribe her into having a relationship. And obviously, this dude is pretty clueless. He says she even told me once that she felt free with me and in prison with him. He says, I finally had to tell her she wasn't allowed to discuss her bitch boyfriend with me again. I told her to call me when she wants a real man, yet she still texts me every day. She's a beautiful woman with a lot of fantastic qualities, and I do still really like her. Well, you spent a lot of years in the friendship zone with this girl, and you yourself were acting like a little bitch with her. You basically were her little bitch male girlfriend, and then at some point, you guys started dating and hooking up, and because you've gone along with just being her friend for years, she stuck you in friend zone while she went to go explore and hang out with her boss and get laid and go on these extravagant vacations and explore that opportunity that she had with him, because she knew that you would basically sit on the sidelines and wait for her to figure things out with this dude. And that is weakness on your part, and that's the real reason why you got stuck in friendship zone. Obviously, she wasn't that into you if she blew you off and dumped you for this other particular guy. But obviously, the reason why she's attracted to this guy, because obviously he didn't get to be her boss by being a douchebag, so he obviously is a high achiever type of guy. He's obviously got a lot of money. He's got a lot of success. And so even though he acts weak as hell, he also has some level of confidence because he's very controlling. And more than likely, this girl you're writing me about is probably kind of young, and she probably doesn't have a lot of experience with guys like this. He says, and I've considered remaining just friends with her. Again, that's weakness. That's why you got dumped, is because you acted weak. You didn't act like a man. And that's what she really wanted. She wanted a guy who embodied masculine energy, and you were not embodying that because you were more of male girlfriend or manservant or butler type of energy. He says, thinking her new boyfriend boss is making so many mistakes that she will eventually get rid of him. Well, if you continue to go along with just being friends, she knows that she can have you and go back to you anytime that she wants because you're sitting around waiting on her. That is total fucking weakness, dude. You're never going to get anywhere with that behavior. He says, but she clearly is in love with his money. Probably. I mean, he's just thrown it at her. Why not? And he's probably too stupid to realize that she's taking him for a fucking ride. That's why, another reason why he's so controlling. He says, is this worth my time anymore? What I would do if I were you is just say, hey, I'm not interested in being your friend, but if you want to hang out and hook up and have fun together, that's great. Give me a call when you want to hang out. And you communicate that to her, and then when she does call you, you just assume it's because she wants to hang out, have fun, and hook up. And so when she reaches out, instead of texting and listening to her talk about all of her problems and being like her therapist on the phone, make a date with her. Just say, hey, I'd love to see you. Why don't you grab a bottle of wine, come on over to my place, and we'll hang out. She'll come on over, have a little bit of wine together, hang out, have fun, and hook up, just like I say all the time. And if she's not down with it, just say, hey, give me a call if you change your mind. I'd love to see you, but I'm not interested in being your male girlfriend. I really don't care what you do with your boss. But in the meantime, what you really need to do is you need to move on, dude. You need to start dating some other women and get some opportunity, get some choice, get some backup going. Because if you put yourself in a place where you're dating 3 or 4 different women, you're not going to be so consumed. I mean, you know everything that's going on in this girl's life and what's going on with her boss, and that tells me you've totally acquiesced and gone along with the friendship thing, even though it's not what you really want. If you have a question you want to ask me, go to my website, click the Contact Me tab on the left-hand side of your screen, send me 1 to 2 paragraphs max, and just give me several weeks to get back to you with a response. If you want to talk to me right away, the quickest way to get my help is to book a paid phone coaching session. You can do that by going to my website, click the Products tab at the top of your screen, and just follow the instructions. And I will talk to you soon.